Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the Internal Combustion Engine Age YouTube channel. Morning conversations. Wow, it's Tuesday. Time just doesn't stop, does it? I mean, just the time, just incredible on how we just have so many things going on in our lives that time just passes by us so quickly. I mean, for me, wow, it just we're gonna be at the end of January before we even know it. Maybe the first time you watch my channel, and I just talk about cars and trucks and motorcycles and dogs and trailers and then just general conversations. And what drives me, or even drove me, to start a YouTube channel called Ice Age TV. I mean, whether you realize it or not, I just want nothing to do with being in the public spotlight. I really have been that just isn't what I've really been wanting to do in my lifetime, believe it or not. Kind of been more of a private individual, and I've had a lot of success. And being that factor, right? Where's other dogs? I think they're all here. You know, it's the driving factor. So you probably think, well, he's saying driving over and over again, so it must be about the drive. What am I going to drive today? That's kind of been the running joke in my life, because I've always had lots of cars. I just didn't start having lots of cars when I started a YouTube channel. That YouTube channel is like, why don't you share everybody how you buy all these cars all the damn time and you're just crazy? I'm like, right, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So the running joke's been, what are you going to drive? I mean, I could drive a different car like every day of the month. I mean, if you add the motorcycles in, I could definitely drive a different vehicle every day of the month. I don't usually do that. Kind of get attached to one car for a while. Looky here. Look at this. Look what I did last night. The Ford Maverick grew horns. I've got a baby Bronco Maverick. I don't know what the hell I got. You know, it's pretty cool. I thought for sure that this would block the adaptive cruise, and it doesn't. I thought the adaptive cruise was right up in there. It is. See there? It's right there. So it doesn't. So, yeah, look at that. How about that Maverick theme, huh? What do you think? Yeah, am I getting a little goofier by the day? Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, so I actually did some stickers on the truck. I started making it kind of my personalized vehicle. Put my flag on the cap. See there? You know, this is, to me, is like the Ford Ranger guy going down the road. The old guy, you know, look at the stickers. I get all the stickers now all over the vehicle. I mean, come on. You know, it's like, you know, Florida tag. You gotta be like, yeah, this is some frickin', you know, old guy driving this thing down the road. And it has bull horns. Yikes. Where's all dogs? Ginger! I don't even know where my one dog is. Ginger! Come here, baby! That's not good. Ginger! Oh, my goodness. Don't tell me I have to go search for a dog. Ginger! That's not good. So one dog isn't here. If I stop this video, it's going to be a fiasco. If I stop the video, then it turns into my mouth moves, and then the words come thereafter. Ginger! Oh, the dogs. I wonder if she went. That's just, you know, she kind of hangs the back. Ginger, come on, baby. Let's go. Come on. There you go. All right. So anyways, let's get up in the office here, get the day going, get the conversation. Yeah, so I thought the theme today would be drive. You know, for me, I make so many videos. Have I made a drive video before? It's possible, but I doubt I can remember anything I said. So hopefully this morning the theme's a little different, or is it? Right, puppies? Come on up here. Kind of a cold day, but not real bad. Look at the pool. I never drained the pool this year. First time. I don't care. So I did it. I just freaking turned my video off. I'll be amazed for the rest of this video of me talking. It won't flow. You just can't win, can you? Oh well, it is what it is. So yeah, get things going, get the heater going. It's cold up here in the office. I don't heat this office too much. You know, my electric bill here is $800 a month. I might embellish it. $900, $700 a month. Let me put my phone down to get my computer going. Too many things to do here. Yep, here we go. So anyways, yeah, I thought the theme today would be a drive. How about that idea? And I thought, what drives us? What drives us individuals to buy cars? What drives us? The passion. What's the driving passion of the car? What is it about cars and vehicles? I mean, sincerely, what? It's just for me, like me, where I say this all the time. Where did this craziness of me in my life, come from? The passion of having one car and trucks. And I can still remember I was just a little boy in Massachusetts, Framingham, Massachusetts. I can still remember this date of crawling around in my dad's little black station wagon, Vauxhall or something. I don't even know. I mean, I can't even remember, but just this little black, like, station wagon vehicle. And I just loved that little car. And I was probably 4 years old, 5 years old. I would have to guess that was probably 1967, 68, maybe 69. I don't think so. I think probably 67, 68. I don't know. So, just where did the passion for me as an individual to, want to own all these vehicles and drive these vehicles? I mean, where did that come from? I mean, even for me, I think, what is the underlying thing that I just am so addicted to cars and trucks and motorcycles? Where does that come from? I mean, sincerely, I can just honestly tell you, it's like, where did that gene come from? Is it my dad's Uncle Jack or something? I don't know. And I gotta get my coffee, so I'll just move over here so you can't see me drinking my coffee. You know what I mean? From back there, so. You can get a different look there, can you? The back behind me. I wonder if having the phone just laid against the computer like that's a better look. Is that better look than kind of being far back here instead of being right in your face? Is it a better look, better view? Yeah, I don't know. So, do I kind of tilt back my thing a little bit so you're looking up at me? I mean, I'm just so used to holding the phone all the time in my hand. I mean, I don't know. Is this the better look? I mean, sincerely, is this kind of more the look like you feel like you're talking to me face to face? Is that kind of better? So anyways, yeah, but for me in my lifetime, I mean, I've always have had a car addiction from just being a littlest kid. And I just think to myself, why? What created that? What created my lifetime where I just am just overwhelmed to be around cars? I can still remember my dad in New Jersey. I can remember going to my dad like in 1969 and buying his first ever new car, I think it was a 1970 Pontiac Le Mans. And I can still remember that to this day, 2-door. It's hard to believe my dad bought a 2-door Pontiac Le Mans as a family. You know what I mean? You could get 4 doors. I remember that. And then I remember when we moved to, then I remember my dad buying a Cadillac Eldorado, like a used one, green, 68, 69. And it just had so many problems. I still to this day remember us being on Route 81. And we broke down. And I swear when I drive down 81, there's this hotel that's way up on the side of a hill as you're going south on the left-hand side. And I swear we broke down at that hotel trying to go up the hill. And the transmission came out because we lived in Jersey. And I'm guessing we just got that far that day. We had to stay over for the hotel, I guess, or the car broke down. But that'd have been like 1970, 71 maybe. Maybe 72, but we moved to California, I think in 72, I think we did. Maybe 71, just have to go back. But anyways, I remember my dad, that car. But then I remember we go to California, and I still remember my dad bought a Toyota Celica GT. And oh my gosh, it was a green car. Just I love that little car. Stick shift. My brother just ragged the hell out of the damn thing. My brother is totally opposite of how I was with vehicles. I always had the compassion, the sympathy, keep them clean. And my brother, they could be dirty as all get out, run them into the ground, who cares, whatever. I mean, the interior's trash, whatever. I mean, we're just totally opposite. And so for me, I used to always be bummed. My brother, this is just from like I'm 10 years old. My brother would bring the car home and it'd just be trashed, Then I would actually clean it, just as a little kid. So then my dad, never forget going to the Toyota dealer and seeing the FJ Cruiser at a Toyota dealership. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I wanted my dad to buy this thing so bad. But even back like in 72 or 3, if I remember right, that thing was like $6,000 or $7,000. Just was out of my dad's realm of having to raise 4 kids and has, your middle class income. So yeah, so for me, what drives us as individuals that we just get so fixated on cars, and then we get a connection with these cars. And there's some people that are much more, I would say, loyal to their cars, because I'm an individual buy cars and then I just get rid of the car. But yet there's other people who buy a car and they'll never get rid of it. They'll keep it forever. Whereas I'm more the person, I kind of get my fun out of it and I had my day with it. And then I see something bigger, better, or whatever it may be, and I just move on and let it go. Even though sometimes wow, should I really let that go? For the most part, the GT500 that I bought back, that I sold in 2021, that I bought in 2020, that was the only car I ever really really felt like I made a mistake selling that car, and I bought it back. And then now the Ford F-450 truck, I just did that. Wonder how that played out, because the black Ram went somewhere and never came home for 4 months, and then the kid, that was just a mistake on how that all played out. But yeah, it's back. But the whole point is, for me, for me as an individual, I have really nice cars, but eventually I let them go. But other people were like, no way. We have animals and you have to maintain things. There's nobody here. Nobody here. Anyway, I get to work very early this morning. So these dogs been barking all morning to drive me nuts. Yeah, I woke up like 5 o'clock this morning. So I'm going to start reading stuff. That's what I do. I just start reading. There's just so much information. And so anyways, kind of keeping the drive of the car channel. So for me, my addictions in life have been the constant wanting to drive something different, have something new. That's been my biggest challenge in my life, is that I get fixated on something and I want it. And I just won't let it go until I can get it. And it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. I mean, business-wise, success-wise, that's been an incredible, successful trait of me in my life, because I get fixated on something I want so bad, I just don't give up. I just won't give up. But on the car side, motorcycle side, truck side, all the material side things, it's not a good trait, because I'm constantly looking for something bigger and better or different. And I get bored with the cars. I mean, I literally buy a car, I'll drive for X amount of time, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I had my fun with it, I'm done. I want something different. Like right now, I've had my eye on the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Jeep Wagoneer 3 Series. And believe it or not, I've actually been wanting Jeep Grand Wagoneer since Chrysler Automotive, Jeep, Fiat, prior to the Stellantis buyout. You can go now probably 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago that Jeep announced they're going to bring back the Grand Wagoneer. Even when I was a kid in the 70s, I remember seeing the Jeep Grand Wagoneers, and I was like, oh man, that'd be so cool if my dad could get one. He just couldn't afford it. They were expensive back then. So for me, I've been wanting a Wagoneer. And now they've come to the market here last year. They're very pricey if you kind of get the one that's really all decked out. You can get more of the price one, but it's pretty base model. It's just not, doesn't have the flash and the flare that really excite me. But the Grand Wagoneer, so you can get the Wagoneer, which is just more of a base, but it's still $80,000 vehicle. It isn't a cheap vehicle, but it doesn't have the luxurious end of the product. Versus you get the Grand Wagoneer. Up here goes the printer here. The Grand Wagoneer, and that's all decked out 1 Series, 2 Series, 3 Series. You have the 3 Series, you're getting the incredible interior, the incredible media entertainment, you're getting the air suspension, you're getting all the adaptive, all the technology. I mean, it's basically, you're now into the Highline Mercedes-Benz and Range Rover. It's over a $100,000 car. But I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines hoping to see that they're going to get $10,000 plus discounts. But even at that, it's still very expensive. And then the other thing is, I did test drive. You follow my video. I did do a video. I test drove the 6.4 392 Grand Wagoneer at my local dealer here. But then I heard rumors of the new Hurricane V6 motor that's going to be a twin turbo that's actually going to have a little bit more foot-pounds of torque and horsepower. And I've been intrigued to wait for that to come out, because I think that's maybe the one I'd probably prefer to have, because I've had so many 6.4 392 motors. and I just know the motor, a great motor and all. And actually, I've already seen a few reviews, not great reviews in my eyes. And some of these people driving. One guy's showing a video, and he has orange gloves on. I don't understand that at all. I guess he's trying to show that he doesn't want to get the car he gets the test drive, he make it dirty, so he has orange gloves on or something. It's not his. He's just driving it. But he really wasn't impressed with that Hurricane motor. And for me, owning the V6 twin turbo setup in my vehicles, I've already experienced in my Tremor versus my Godzilla V8 that the Tremor V6 twin turbo outpulled my 7.3 Godzilla motor because it had more foot-pounds of torque in realm of weights that I used it for. So for me, it's kind of like, yeah, I really like that Grand Wagoneer, but it's very expensive, very pricey. And for me, I'm at the point with all of my cars that I have, then it comes to a huge crossroads that what would I part for to get that vehicle? And that's where the challenge starts coming. Would it really be worth sacrificing something for that? I mean, that's the problem. What you're talking about, the price range and the value of things that I have, like the Ford Raptor truck. I could trade that for the Grand Wagoneer, but part of me, yeah, but I really think that, trade the Ford Raptor. The Raptor would bring me tons of money to the table, and that would be really a good deal. But then I've lost my Raptor, Bronco. I mean, I think, no way. I think I'd regret that as well. So then, so I have to go through the list of vehicles I have, and there's where the challenge lies. And what am I going to give up the Grand Wagoneer? There's no way I'm adding a vehicle. There's just no famous last words, right? Yeah, right. I hear you. Famous last words. But anyways, so I'm really tempted to go try. I really want to go drive the new Hurricane V6 twin turbo motor setup, even though part of me is like, you're the guinea pig. You buy that vehicle. It's such the new motor in the market. You're going to be the guy the first year out. We're going to be saying, oh, yep, motor issues or this or that. I don't know. Very debatable. But here's the point. What drives that? For me, it doesn't end. It doesn't end with me. Where I just have to have the latest, greatest, and I want something different, and I have the cards, meaning I have all these different cars that I can shuffle things around, and what do I trade for it? And the Mach-E Mustang that I have, the electrified car, the value of that car isn't really holding its value. So that really isn't a great tool for me to use to get something. I can, but it isn't really what I'm not right there yet. Part of me is, but part of me isn't. But even my wife, kind of befuddling, my wife just doesn't really drive. But I drove that car yesterday for the first time, I would say in 4 or 5 months. And that car now is coming up on a year old and has 3,000 miles on it. But it doesn't matter. The value of it is like, they're giving me quotes on a car like 57 grand. I could have sold that car a year ago. Well, last summer, I would have gotten like $70,000 for that car. So conservative $10,000, $13,000 less value in the last 6 months. Yeah, what's driving the used car market? What's driving? It's incredible how many YouTube videos are out there of the never-ending conversations of the value of the used car market is going down. The conversations are, don't buy a car, don't buy a car. The Euro Allied Alliance or whatever, the YAA, that this father and son who are based here in Bethesda, Maryland, they are always talking about don't buy a car, don't buy a car, don't buy a car, don't buy. They were talking about this close to 2 years ago. Don't buy a car, don't buy a car, don't buy a car. But the used car prices have tanked. But they're still telling people now is not the time to buy a car. Oh my gosh, just like what you watch some of these YouTubers, and I'm not here to be critical. I'm just sharing information. I'm watching this real estate guy out of Miami, young guy, not really a young guy, but I mean, the guy has a nice channel. He's a cool guy. I like to watch him. He walks neighborhoods. He and this other guy walked for 45 minutes in Miami. Where did they? They had to walk 5 miles at least. They walked forever down like the boardwalk, along the ocean, along all the different tourist area. And so, but all the conversation was about how this housing market is slowed down. Okay, I think we all know that, right? And this housing market's adjusting. I think we all kind of know that, right? But as it goes into great depth of all the evaluations and analysts and what it talks about, the one guy talks about that right now he claims he can get, true data through, these websites and government information that right now the savings rate for the average American is at 2.4%. It's at the lowest we've seen in 30, 40, 50 years. So the American consumer is not saving any money anymore for the most part. And then it talks about the debt that consumers have and all this. So they just go through all these analogies. And then the buying power of your money compared to what it was. And everybody, it's underwater now, technically on their homes, because everybody bought them at the 3% interest rate can't afford to buy them at the 6-7% interest rate, blah, 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 blah. So at the end of that video that I watched, it was like 45 minutes of information. What they said in the end was, this is a 4 to 5 year trend that you'll see play out in the housing market. So basically the message is, if you think that the housing market is crashing tomorrow, it's not. It's not. It's going to take 4 to 5 years for the true crash to play out. I mean, is anybody here buying this? I mean, sincerely, as a YouTube watcher, when I heard that, I'm like, well, this just means you have 4 or 5 more years of YouTubing on a daily basis and tell everybody the dire straits of the housing market, but it's not going to happen yet. It's just like Dan the Man out in California. I remember watching him 2 years ago, and his drive of his channel is that everything's going to go sour. Everything's going to go to the ground. Everything's going to go to the ground. I've heard it for over 2 years. It's the same conversation. I don't know. So, I mean, not here by any means to be critical of any YouTuber. I'm just sharing with you what they're saying. And for me as a watcher, I'm just like you watching my channel. I'm sure at some point you're like, well, what'd I get out of that? What was the round table conversation today? There's no round table conversation today. I'm telling you what it is, right? So anyways, the drive. So what drives us motorheads to the passion? Here's the good news. GM's spending close to $1 billion, $864 million on a new small block engine for the Ice Age. That's good news. I was thinking to myself this morning, what's driving the Japanese automotive car sector? It doesn't seem like the Japanese, the Honda, Toyota, Mazda, Nissan, Suzuki, doesn't seem like they're caught up in this rapid EV movement. Am I right or wrong? But then you go to Korea, South Korea, and you go to Hyundai and Kia, and it seems like these guys are all over the EV market. And then you go to the European market, and Volkswagen definitely has ramped up the EV production, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, but I would say mostly it's more Volkswagen and the European side that's really ramped up the EV. And on the American side, it's really been Tesla from day one, but then you can talk about Ford for sure has kind of ramped it up. General Motors is kind of getting there. Dodge ain't there by any means. The Fiat, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, it doesn't seem like they're bringing things, but it's slow. So you just think about in the world of automotive, it seems like the Japanese, to me, are right now really kind of standing behind the scenes trying to watch how things play out. I mentioned yesterday that the executives don't see the drive of the EV market being as big as they thought it was, and they're starting to kind of pull back. So anyway, so for me, the theme here this morning, what drives us individuals to be the motorheads that are constantly looking for the faster car. Look at the aftermarket. Look at the tunes. I mean, look at the Mopar side. There's a guy that has cracked how to tune these Mopars, where he has literally opened up the capability, understands how to get in these cars on these Hellcats and just incredibly get them tuned where these things are on steroids. Where, I mean, no lie, there's a guy out there that I used to be in a forum with, really great guy, and he's mastered the tune on these Hellcats, where the people are starting to see 9. So you have to do some mods to your car, but he has figured out how to get these cars to run at their optimal, potential, which is really cool. And the whole point is, what's the driving force of individuals who are always looking to get their car to go faster, be better? It's on all aspects. That's why you have the SEMA, and you have all the aftermarket, companies that are constantly building things. Look at my black Ram truck. I just piped that thing. That thing now has more power, more torque, more noise. Fuel economy, yeah, I think it'll be about. I would think fuel economy will probably go up now a little bit. I got to get some more coffee here as I talk to myself right on my phone. So, so what's driving? What's driving? Does anybody ever just have a feeling like the governing bodies just don't like us. I mean, do you ever just have that feeling? To me, it just seems like the governing body, the city administration, it just seems like they don't like us. I mean, what is that? I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just wondering. I mean, when you hear the Secretary of Energy basically belittling, people, to me, it seems like it's belittling. It seems like the White House press secretary or the White House correspondent lady, it just seems like it's a belittling type of conversation. At least like Kamala Harris, she like talks in circles and talks down to you. It seems like a belittle. Even Joe Biden, he kind of has that arrogance about him where he belittles you. And when you hear about the Secretary of Energy yesterday saying that the Republican Party has put a bill together for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve Plan, SPR. What they're saying is right now the SPR is at its lowest level per se. We still have 400 million barrels of oil, but it's down by 40%. And so some people feel that, this is something to be concerned about, and we should be looking at our Strategic Petroleum Reserve and always, be more prepared for the what if and how are we going to kind of keep that thing in balance. But the city administration has used it to try to get the market to tamper down the fuel prices. But at the same time, I think to myself, isn't this the agenda? Isn't this administration that wants us to go to more of the green agenda? I mean, kind of confusing that on one hand, the city administration is wanting to release the oil reserves to help tamper down the cost of energy. But on the other hand, they're the most aggressive yet city administration amount of times that want to promote the green agenda. So you just kind of think, it just doesn't, it's like two different messages. So anyways, the Secretary of Energy, she was basically laughing at she basically claims that the GOP party is the reason that we have all expensive fuel prices. And she was also claiming that by the bill they're proposing to ramp up, to shut down the constant release, the reserve to try to tamper prices in markets, she's laughing at that. But they don't understand is what the bill, what's actually in the bill is for the administration to open back up the ability for the oil companies to go back into drilling oil and making more domestic oil. Even though I never hear the oil companies complaining. Has anybody really heard the oil companies complaining? I've heard them get on, the news channels, and they don't like the position of the city administration. But hasn't the city administration made them richer than ever? I mean, think this through. Donald Trump, in so many aspects, made the oil companies go broke because when he was a sitting president, he was during the pandemic where everything turned off and the oil companies, for the most part, went broke. Yes. But this administration has enriched the oil companies like never seen in modern times. So it's kind of like, it's such, does anybody ever kind of just step back and think about that under the Biden administration, we've seen $120 barrel of oil, and the oil companies have seen record profits. But Donald Trump, why would the oil companies be excited about Donald Trump ramping up production? I mean, sincerely, if you're an oil executive, for me, as an oil executive, at this stage of where the world is, the governing bodies are, I would be like, I'm not really interested in drilling any more oil. I'd rather kind of keep the supply more tight and make more money. And where this world governing body is, why do we want to play their game? They're constantly beating us up. So I'm going to play my own game. My own game's going to be, I'm going to have a tighter market on oil, less headaches with more facilities, and I'm going to get premium price for my products. I always have said, if you think this through, wouldn't it be advantageous for us as a country to use up everybody else's oil and we be the last one with the oil? I've been preaching that for over 20 years. Just step back for a second and say to yourself, wouldn't it be advantageous to suck Venezuela dry? Wouldn't it be advantageous to suck Russia and Saudi Arabia dry? I mean, at the end of the day, if we end up having the richest, commodities, we have the oil fields of the world. Isn't that a pretty smart move? I don't understand why people don't think that through. I mean, to me, it's like, wow. And then here's another thing. What's driving the Ukraine war? There's now a lot of conversation that's being talked about how we are totally exposed more than ever right now to China because we are supplying the Ukraine war with so much of our military warfare that we're not replacing it in a timely fashion. So right now the talk is that if we ever did have to actually go to war with China, we presently don't even probably have the military warfare to really go head to head with them because we're giving everything up to Ukraine. What is driving the Ukraine agenda? Does anybody really know? What is really going to be accomplished at the end of the day of Ukraine with Russia? Besides what I feel is what I just said. We're exposing ourselves more than ever to fund another country's war. I wonder if anybody ever really. What I always think to myself in life is, if you had a bill sent to you on a monthly basis, and you had to pay $1,000 a month or whatever the bill was for this new legislation to enrich others or to help others or whatever it may be, I wonder how the American public would do on that aspect. If you received a bill in the mail and they said you got to write a check for this amount of money because we just passed another bill that we need extra money for to fund the Ukraine war or whatever agenda it may be, I wonder how many people would actually send the payments. I mean, sincerely, I think that would be really the real reality to where people in this country that, oh, well, I'm not going to support that. Right. Well, why? Well, because I got to pay for it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. You got to pay for it. But you don't see that because, it's just whatever. So, oh my gosh, right? So what's the driving narrative where our governing bodies are of our country? And here's another thing. It's really sad. What's driving have you been reading about the amount of younger kids that are creating violence in the streets? Yeah, it's pretty disturbing. If you really start digging into the books of our major cities and even rural areas, but I'd say more the inner cities, the gun-related crime with youngsters is going through the roof. The youngsters killing themselves and killing others is going through the roof. What is driving that? And what I think to myself, it's so many variables right now that are playing out in our country, being that it's the Wild West. My wife makes a comment now that, we're back to the Wild West. I mean, I don't know if you heard, I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but do you remember seeing the kid drive into the lady that was walking down the alley in LA in 2021? So there's this young lady with her baby stroller in LA in an alley, and this young kid, 15 years old, drives down the alley and he deliberately runs her over, and the lady miraculously picks her stroller up and goes over the hood, and the baby goes over the hood. So they didn't get critically injured. They survived. Meanwhile, this kid was cut off by another driver in a black Ram truck that basically head-on collision to stop his getting away. So this kid apparently never had any real, they wouldn't really prosecute him, so they let him go. But apparently when he's 13 years old, he tried to poison his girlfriend or something. But I'm pretty sure I talked about this the other day. But anyways, the whole point is that kid was terminated last week. Somebody killed him. So it's the Wild West. Unfortunately, more than ever, the district attorneys and the sitting judges and the local enforcement is not enforcing the hardships on people who do really bad things. Look at the meteorologist on Fox News or whatever that was on the subway, and a guy, he witnessed these 7 kids lighting an old man's hair on fire. An older man was on the subway. I haven't watched. I just heard bits and pieces from other people talking, and apparently these kids set this old man's hair on fire and laughing at him. And this guy that looks like me but younger decides to tell these kids, you can't do that. That's wrong. So they end up tracking him down and beating the crap out of him. Wow, the violence, but what's driving that? And so what you hear about is raise the age limit, which was a law passed that wouldn't allow prosecutors to really prosecute people that weren't of 18 years of age or older. So the younger crowd is getting the message that you can do some really bad things to others, and you're not really going to have any severe consequences, and you're still a minor. So would even be public record as an adult once you get older? So really, what's the driving narrative? I think the driving narrative is this device that I'm on right now, the social media machine, is anger. When I go on to Twitter and I start reading Twitter comments, I just never have been a social media person in my life. I really haven't. I really wanted to be off of it because I think it creates the hate. And it's no doubt, when I go onto Twitter, you just feel the utter hate. I mean, the Reddit. You can go through the list of all these social platforms, and it's just people behind the screen just constantly fueling their hate of the world and the hate of people. It's really bad. And what it's doing to me, in my own eyes, it's just radiating back to younger people the hate, the disrespect, and do whatever you want and no consequences. If you hear what's going on in colleges, it's beyond believable. What's going on in colleges? It's beyond believable. What these teachers are teaching our kids. I mean, you're it's sad, even for me, as I progress in life and I get more exposed, especially to college, what these college professors are doing to the kids that go to college and what they're teaching them and telling them what is right and wrong and shaming them. And basically, I would have to honestly say that I bet you 80% of the professors, if we ever had a war and they were of military age to be drafted, I'd be willing to bet most of them say, I'm not going. I'm not going to defend this country. Because they look at this country as being a white supremacist run country that's a disgrace to mankind. If you think I'm making this stuff up and I'm trying to get you riled up, I'm just telling you, where we are in today's society more than ever, I'd have to honestly say that if we had a major war breakout, it'd probably look like Russia. You would see the younger generation running in droves to Canada, to Mexico, to try to fly out of this country to escape having to be drafted to fight this country. I'd be willing to bet that I'm pretty accurate at that. I hope I'm wrong, and don't get me wrong, I think there's some incredibly young, talented people in this country and incredible young individuals. But I think sadly, there's a lot that are in deep, deep trouble, and if you get on Twitter and you see the violence in the streets. I mean, I just don't really want to watch this stuff because it just really is saddening. You just see photos in Chicago where the people just got in the streets and they just terminate each other. I mean, it's just beyond believable. Anyways, don't mean to go out in the drive of the morning to drive you down to the negative stuff, but at the same time, what's driving today's society more than ever for us to be divided on so many things where we have policymakers that talk a certain way and they have a direct and a driven motive to truly, in my eyes, do things that are not really making things better. I mean, sincerely, are we in better times from 4 years ago? I mean, are we? I mean, if you ask me, I'm not really seeing it. I'm not seeing. I mean, everything's so much more expensive. It's just that in itself. The crime, from my understanding, the crime is soared through the roof. Businesses are closing left and right in major cities. And in Seattle, Washington, Nike's packing bags. Major retailers are leaving because the city council and the law enforcement won't enforce the laws so that their businesses are being destroyed. I mean, wow. I mean, can you just start going? You know what I think is really interesting is how many shootings in the last 2 days? All right. And then they're using now, they originally said the first shooting in California was bigotry motivated. Then come to find out some old Asian guy. They killed those people. For what reason? We don't know. He terminated himself. Then a young guy, or some guy yesterday, just shot 7 more people. Then somewhere else, that was like directly related to people I think he knew. More of a revenge. But then there was another shooting. And what I'm saying to you, as you follow my channel, as the year progresses and the GOP now has control of the House, I'd be willing to bet you're going to start to see more violence published in the general media than you've seen in the last 2 years. I'd be willing to bet you're going to start seeing rioting in the streets again, the protests, the law enforcement, the hate, the white supremacy is going to be ramped up back again. You just watch, because it's going to show that the House that has control of the powers to be, they want to make sure that they don't lose control, so they're going to make you believe that the GOP is the problem. And I'm not here to say that they aren't the problem, but I'm here to tell you that the party that's in charge right now, the media machine seems to like them a lot and doesn't seem really to want to talk a lot about all the things that are going on. Does it seem like that? I mean, I don't know. You just, once again, not here to create the madness and the hate, but just like to share ideas and views. And I just think as the year progresses, that you're going to start to see the 2020 start to kind of play out again. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Anyways, everybody, hey, what's the driving thing I'm gonna do today? Is it's getting late in the morning. I get to work. This is a long video. Probably longer should have gone, but I like to talk. You talk. Yeah, I really like to drive that new Grand Cherokee or Grand Wagoneer with that new Hurricane motor in it. You know, but yeah, but it's a lot of money. I mean, I can't see how I would pull that deal off by any means. Famous last words, right? Never know with me, right? All right, everybody, hey, thanks for watching my channel. And once again, not here to, by any means, get people riled up, get people to do devious things to others, just sharing information, and hope people can relate with me on a YouTube channel. They kind of have the same ideas and thoughts and views. And it just kind of makes you step back and say to yourself, yeah, you know, I really think that what you're saying, I can resonate with that. You know, I can really kind of see that. And yeah, it's when do people start speaking up more? This just isn't acceptable. And get these policymakers out of office and people back in office that want to enforce the laws of the land. Yeah, how about that idea? All right, buddy. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.